I said it before on my show. I think it bears repeating. Fuck your unity. I want solidarity. Now, if you're okay with the squad funding the police more, that means you are not standing in solidarity with our community. That means you are demanding us to unify with people who don't have our best interests at heart. How are you any different than the white martyr that MLK has been warning us about? You are the white martyr MLK warned about. Geoff, Vosh, Humans Report, TYT, all these people who had anything negative to say about this march. You are the white martyr that MLK warns about. And yes, I'm calling you out because I see this class divide on the left. These are people, and I notice this. These are the people who are super obsessed with theory. You see these people? Oh, you read this theory? You read this book, man? I didn't become a leftist through theory. I became a leftist because I live this shit. And there are people who they are so busy theorizing, they're like, oh, you gotta look at this theory, you gotta read what this person said, man. You gotta talk. You see what this person said? You gotta compare that to the other theory. Because it's just a game to them. It's just a book, it's just theories to them. Because at the end of the day, they'd be fine. At the end of the day, these people will be okay. So it's all about just theory for them. So they can't possibly wrap their mind around people like us, people who will actually die if these progressive policies don't get implemented, why we are so upset at these politicians. So it's literally just a class analysis that so many people on the left is not even acknowledging. They just say this is drama. Oh, there's left infighting and there's a lot of drama. No, it's not. And I've been talking about this. The left drama is literally the people who are loyal to the politicians who are mad at us for calling the politicians out. That's it. If you don't believe me, name one giant left debate that started outside the guys of people getting mad because we criticize the politicians. Forced to vote, marching for Medicare for all, whether we vote for Joe Biden or not. All of these left divisions are caused because people are still in love with electoral politics in the Democratic Party, and they are mad at people who are not.
Welcome to a brand new podcast called The Nightly Recap. I'm your host, Compton J. I'll be joining you most Mondays through Thursdays. We all know life happens, so I might miss one here or there. But as you can see, a different background. So I'm back to my original location because I actually started doing shows here. And then I had to move to my room because I was too loud. But now that it's at nighttime for me, and it's actually already the next day, Wednesday, for those who are watching on the East Coast. I'll do a chat check in just a second. So now everybody's in the bed, back to sleep. So I have to, I've been pushed to the nighttime. My girls pushed me out back into the kitchen area. So back out here. But anyway, thank you. Brand new podcast. I thought a perfect name. At first I was thinking of graveyard something. Graveyard shift, actually. But considering some of the things I'm going to be doing, how the format of the show, I thought Nightly Recap was sort of fitting. So went with that name because we're going to be recapping the news for the day. And I kind of like this night spot because, again, I'm able to see all the news that transpires, and then I can give my full commentary and all the people who've already commentaried on it. So it is kind of cool in that sense. So yeah. But welcome again. Went with the yellow for this podcast. So I want to be able to make distinguish between my podcast with the different coloring. So the different podcast show. So anyway, welcome to those on Rockfin. Welcome to those on Twitter. We're going to be on Rumble and Odyssey very soon. Welcome to those on Facebook. Are watching tonight. I think I'm missing one. Twitch. Welcome to those on Twitch. So do a chat check in just a second, but let's get the other video prepped here. So we're going to be starting with the Joy Reid story here. So I happen to have YouTube TV because I needed some sort of TV connection now that I'm doing this, because I went without TV for a while, for years, and then I found out in order to cover corporate media, you have to watch a little bit of it. So this show is going to be trying to not just cover left media, because that is something that we do on the left. We just cover lefty media. This lefty person said this, that lefty person said that. So I want to start covering clips from corporate media, breaking down propaganda, recapping the bullshit, just recapping if I thought the story was interesting or the take was ludicrous or whatever the case may be. So we're going to start with that story. But before we do, like this stream, maybe I should do it this way. Before we do, like this stream, so people at night, I guess this is our best chance to for the algorithm to be doing the least amount of work against us is at this late nights, because it shouldn't be much else going on this late night. So or this time of day, considering some people might be already asleep on the East Coast. So let's like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me see where we're at with the subscription here. Last I checked, we had crossed 15,400. Oh wow, 15,431 is where we're at. Let me actually put that on the screen just so I can put that 15,431. Now, this is just a tangent here. I've been looking at views of thumbs ups or likes. Let's just call them likes on other videos. So another YouTube video, political politics, I'll go to like CNN. I'll go to like the Hill, and I mean, we are being suppressed on top of suppression, because if you take our videos and the amount of thumbs ups or likes that we get, our views should be when you look at those amount of likes on other networks, it's like ridiculous. I saw one today with 800 likes, and we have a good amount of videos with 800 likes. That video had 15,000 views. Our 800 likes, 5,000. So the suppression is real. It is actually real. So let's am I missing one thing? Oh, Patreon. If you're able to contribute, you may have noticed we don't have you may not have seen the super chat button. One, we've been demonetized, and two, I mean, it just, they take so much from it that it's always best to, if you're able to contribute, to support us on Patreon if you're able to do so. So now let's do a chat check. I wanted a little more people to trickle in before I did that. So let's see. Our most RBN viewers in the East Coast. This is a question, not the same question, but a question about where our viewers are. It's so funny, but we have a very balanced viewership. One that stands out to me, no category was above 20% when it broke down to age brackets. Like, whatever the 18 to so and so, it was like 17%. Then for 35, they were all in that same realm. So we do have people on the East Coast. I would say, wow, maybe the majority of our audience, not the vast majority. I don't think it's that big, but I would say the majority of our audience will be East Coast time or Central time, maybe. But it's just a guess. There's no formula. There's nothing I know. No evidence or anything like that. I am on East Coast time. Yes, that's where Rome is. What I've been finding out is East Coast people be up till a long time, because even with RBN members like Nick, like when I think there should be sleep, I'm looking at my clock and I'm like, it's 10 o'clock my time, and you're still up here chatting, and I'm like, wow. So I guess, because I'm not up on here at no 1 o'clock. I'm not on here. So yeah. But anyway, let's see if we can throw up another tweet. Oh, Gary, I usually see you in the daytime. Wow, you're up early or up late also. What's up, Gary? What's up, Henry? Oh, it does. I tried to make it bigger to show that that's like the main story because the main story should be like the bigger picture. But hey, I get the connection, people's interpretation. So, all right. So now let's get into the first story we're gonna cover. Um, I I didn't realize the reaction by a certain segment of people to Elon Musk buying Twitter was this. One, I'm just finding out that liberals don't like Elon Musk, or maybe they did before and now they don't. Um, that was something I didn't know. Two, I didn't know a lot about Elon Musk on purpose, but now, because of the story, I'm learning more. Um, but yeah, this is but you can tell the people who are upset because this is not Facebook. This is a small Twitter that's being purchased, but it's who uses Twitter is who is in uproar. Mainstream media, in particular liberal mainstream media, they use it, they tweet out their stuff. This is where all of their following is on Twitter. And they thought they had an ally in the Twitter board, but maybe they don't. Or maybe this is all part of the corporate narrative for all of us to think that this is going to be different when it's going to be worse. We really don't even know. So she brings on Dr. Jason Johnson. Now, Dr. Jason Johnson, let me just tell you, because this is full disclosure for those watching on Facebook, I don't want you to have any seizures because you may be a liberal watching here. But I did a top 10 worst people on cable news, and he was my number one. So he's in this clip. So I have, two great ones in one video for this. So let's get to the clip. This is where YouTube TV comes in handy because I'm logged in to my TV, I guess, channel, and I'm able to go and look at my VR. What is it called? DVR, where I keep these, and I can go and look at old stuff. So this is good in analyzing corporate media. This comes in handy. So I have it a little bit queued up. So let's get. I'm gonna press it because it may not have sound in the beginning, or until the screen comes on. I'm gonna pause or mute the sound. She should be coming on any second here. I thought I had it queued up pretty good. All right, here we go. Oh, I thought we were, but let's just let it play. It's about to go. Let's see. Okay, here we go, I think. There we go.
As Elon Musk's deal to take over Twitter is being finalized, the end result is more than just control of a social media platform. Our nation was founded on the idea that it is we the people who hold the power, and it is we the people who elect representatives to exercise that power. But this latest news shines a light on the plutocratic republic that we are unfortunately very quickly turning into, where it's not we the people, but the ultra wealthy who wield the power, who control so many of the institutions.
All right, so of course I'm not gonna get through this. What do Nick and I always say? I'm sorry, not that one. What do Nick and I always say? Like when we're playing these corporate media clips, like literally in the first 5 seconds, like we have something to say already. So, I mean, just in that short amount of 15 seconds, it was so much BS. But let's break it down here.
Elect representatives to exercise that power. But this latest news shines a light on the plutocratic republic that we are unfortunately very quickly turning into, where it's.
So she believes Elon Musk purchasing Twitter is a sign that we're quickly moving towards a plutocracy. That we're just now doing it. That's the serious corporate analysis, $1 million analysis of Joy Reid on the readout. So let me, oh, this little cool thing, I can go 15 seconds. Pretty cool. All right.
A social media platform. Our nation was founded on the idea that it is we the people who hold the power, and it is we the people who elect representatives to exercise that power. But this latest news shines a light on the plutocratic republic that we are unfortunately very quickly turning into, where it's not we the people, but the ultra wealthy who wield the power, who control so many of the institutions that have become.
Where has she been? Does she not know about the ownership of her own employer, Comcast, and the billionaires? Does she not know about the fundraising? I think Joe Biden's first fundraiser was with the Comcast executives. Has she not heard about Michael Bloomberg? Because he donates and now is on the side of the Democrats. So funny how that guy doesn't change his politics, but he can just maneuver in and out of both parties as if they're the same, or as if they have the same ideology, because they do. This is our corporate media. So let me go back a second and see.
The people who elect representatives to exercise that power. But this latest news shines a light on the plutocratic republic that we are unfortunately very quickly turning into, where it's not we the people, but the ultra wealthy who wield the power, who control so many of the institutions that have become fundamental.
I mean, Jeff Bezos, I mean, Bill Gates. Like, where has she been? But you notice the outrage. This is what I'm meaning by the outrage, not over those things, because those things are meant to brainwash us. Twitter is for them and their fans, for them to shine. That's what these people are. That's what Twitter is to them. Twitter is their glory land. It's where they can go and tweet and get a bunch of people to retweet them and say how great they are. That's why they're up in arms. Because they have no problem with the presidency being purchased by billionaires. Where's the outcry for that?
Fundamental to our lives. As David Atkins, a Democratic National Committee member from California, puts it, Elon Musk is trying to buy the conversation. Peter Thiel is trying to buy a dictatorship. Jeff Bezos is trying to buy the marketplace. Mark Zuckerberg is trying to buy our minds. Taxing the rich isn't just about helping the poor. It's about stopping them from owning everything. With me now, Jason Johnson, professor of journalism and politics at Morgan State University and host of the Slate podcast, A Word with Jason Johnson. And Jason, thank you for being on. It is, I think it was distressing to a lot of people, not least of which the people who work at Twitter, right, who, in their internal Slacks are really a lot of them are wringing their hands, probably not all of them, but a lot of them, and just worried about what becomes of their company. Elon Musk's companies have a history of open racism. There's been this lawsuit against Tesla, and he himself is a troll. So his idea of freedom means freedom to be a jerk and to be cruel.
Where did she get this? Now, I'm not even defending Elon Musk. I don't know the guy, whatever the fuck. He does have money from apartheid. Like, all of that is true, but you're saying that his idea of freedom is this, when he didn't say that. But let's take a look at what your idea of freedom is. Because Elon Musk, what I'm noticing the framing is Elon Musk wants to come and it's just going to be racist and Trump's back. Really? Because the only people I know who have been booted off Twitter are leftists who are critiquing the Biden administration. I don't know where all these rapists that's coming back, all these neo-Nazis that's not on Twitter already that's coming back, that now is going to come back. Because I don't know any that have been taken off. But I know a bunch of leftists who have been taken off. So, spare me your tears, Miss Reid. Let's continue.
And to have no one be able to stop you. What do you make of this takeover?
It's a real concern.
Takeover. The language is so. It was a pause because it was like, in my this is her propaganda school. Oh, I forgot to put that word in there. Takeover. There we go. That's why that word was inserted. She's still polishing her propaganda skills.
Real concern. Joe, I was actually talking with my students at Morgan State about this today, and I said, look, imagine if the worst, most obnoxious.
I still can't believe this guy teaches people. Guess what he teaches them? I think she said journalism. This guy is teaching journalism. Okay. That's disturbing to me.
Not just person you've ever met had access to all your DMs and have the right to put them out whenever they want. Like, that is essentially what people are looking at. And I think, Joy, that the real concern here, we have the larger questions about multi-billionaires running conversations. We have the larger questions about our political discourse. But what we're really also talking about here is when and how our federal government will recognize that social media is also news, that social media is a public workplace, that social media is something that we have to stop pretending that it's just, teenagers and smart guys out of Harvard and Silicon Valley who don't know what they're doing. You have politically minded people like Elon Musk who are trying to dominate public discourse around the world, and governments need to get.
Do we all understand that Twitter is for entertainment? This is not, this is not, let's say, MSNBC. This is not CNN. This is not Fox News or the Washington Post or Bloomberg News, all of which are owned by billionaires. This is an entertainment site that the professional managerial propagandist class has decided to make their social media platform, and now a person that they don't like has bought it. I mean, when you watch the different descriptions of the same person, I think I was just telling my wife this the other day. It was like, we watched the same video. Yeah, it was a video of Elon Musk talking somewhere. It was like, we just watched the same footage on Fox talk about it, and then on MSNBC talk about it, and it was completely different. The same footage they're commenting on, and it's completely different takes. Oops, looks like my internet's low. Hopefully it's not slowing down. Anyway, oh yeah, what's it? I did not know you have not been able to see me live. Maybe this is a good thing. This is the worker time. Everybody's off work, so this is the worker time to be on. But yes, I am. I've been in confused land lately. Thanks, y'all. All right, so good to see some of the people I normally see in the daytime up this late watching. That's good to see. So awesome. All right, so let's get back to this, because and it's unfortunate to me that two Black people are being used in this way. It's unfortunate to me because neither one of their positions is helping the Black community. Nothing that you're doing on these channels is helping us. The information you give out, you can call it news, I call it lies and propaganda, doesn't help the Black community. You're enriching yourself by telling lies, and that is the fulfillment of Martin Luther King's dream, maybe? I don't think his dream was for Black people to be corrupt like our oppressors. I don't think that was his dream. But black capitalist thinking, that's this thinking of that is not an accomplishment now that you are able to be in a position of power where you can also oppress people. Now you own a record company and now you're giving out bullshit ass record deals, jipping artists off, not paying them what they're supposed to be paid. So that's not fulfilling Martin Luther King's dream. If you didn't know, that's not what that is.
Need to get involved.
And I mean, Elon Musk seems to me he keeps protesting too much. First, he came out and tweeted, "Oh, I hope my worst critics don't leave." Yeah, buddy, because you know, if the smart people and the people who criticize you leave, Twitter will have no value without the content.
She said that. That's what she said. I'm going to rewind it because she literally said that just now. The smart people. That's what she said. This one right here. So, yeah. Let me rewind this one here. How we go back right there. Let's see.
Of course, around the world, and governments need to get involved.
And I mean, Elon Musk seems to me he keeps protesting too much. First, he came out and tweeted, "Oh, I hope my worst critics don't leave." Yeah, buddy, because you know, if the smart people and the people who criticize you leave, Twitter will have no value without the content that you get for free from.
So you're grouping the smart people in with that other group? Or are you saying the people leaving the smart like this? Let me just play this video so we can get this.
From, intelligent people like Charles Blow, and the attacks on people like Charles Blow from far right people who just enjoy attacking, particularly black people on social media. So he tweets today, by free speech, he's trying to sort of contextualize what he means by that. I simply mean that which matches the law. I'm against censorship that goes beyond the law. If people want less free speech, they will ask government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of people. It sounds like a bunch of gibberish. We have a First Amendment. There is no free speech problem. Twitter is not the government. Twitter is a private company that can say, no, you're not allowed to be a Nazi on Twitter. I mean,
Joy, it's always been trash. I tweeted this.
This is the selling of it. This is the selling of what do you mean Nazi? What about somebody who says the war in Ukraine is opposite of what you're saying? Because that's the accounts I know that got banned. Chris Hedges, Abby Martin, Lee Camp, Tara Reid, like but then it's never the reason for the rule or the policy or the restriction is never how it's applied. Asset forfeiture is one that always come to mind because Nick broke that down. Oh, the reason, you got that because you're a criminal and you shouldn't have it because you got it through criminal activities. But it's not applied when the threshold is all the officer have to do is, I'm just going to take that. You probably got that through criminal activities. And then so you go ahead and steal from asset forfeiture. This is the same thing. You guys keep screaming Nazis are going to be on. And like, what was Twitter before the pandemic? I was asking my wife this, like, they're acting like what was Twitter before the pandemic? What was it like? Why are we acting like this is a different world we're exploring here? Like we're just setting first feet on the moon. Let's continue.
We all know why Elon Musk wants to control Twitter. We know why the right wants to control Twitter, right? They don't want to go to their own club. They don't want to go hang out the honky tonk. They want to go to the club where the cool people are. Correct. And so they know they can't get in unless they buy the entire block. And the problem is, if they just want to come in and hang out with everybody, it's fine. But they want to act
I'm going to rewind that part. I don't know. Let me before I say my commentary.
Hang out the honky tonk. They want to go.
Let me just see.
Joy, it's always been trash. I tweeted this. We all know why Elon Musk wants to control Twitter. We know why the right wants to control Twitter, right? They don't want to go to their own club. They don't want to go hang out the honky tonk. They want to go to the club where the cool people are.
Correct.
I did hear that right. That's a little offensive, wouldn't you? They don't want to go to the honky tonk. They want to go to the cool kids. What about somebody on Fox News says they don't want to go to the rap club. They want to go where the cool kids are. Like, we wouldn't like that. So you may not like honky tonk music. I'm a particular one that doesn't, but it's a little offensive. What do people think? One, and you're not cool. That's the one. Because if you're cool, that means cool is the opposite of cool now. That's what that means. Because if Jason Johnson is cool, if he's in a cool crowd, that instantly makes that crowd not cool. So she has called them the smart people, and he is saying the cool kids. Yes. Accidentally doing racist? Yes. Pretty much. Yes. And here's one. MSNBC is home of the cool kids. But remember, he's the one who said the island of misfit black girls. That's the guy. That guy right there. Him. This one said that. Okay.
Correct.
And so they know they can't get in unless they buy the entire block. And the problem is, if they just want to come in and hang out with everybody, it's fine. But they want to act like Logan Roy from Succession. They want to come in and dominate.
Who are they talking about? What did I miss? What has transpired? That the description, these descriptions are so detailed. It's like these events really happen. What are you? So let me rewind it by 15 seconds.
Glass. But they don't just want to come in. They want to come in and be able to punch people in the face and walk around and laugh about it and not have anyone be able to stop them. The thing is, the enjoyment they get out of being in this town square is being able to harass people, being able to attack people. There was a time when people had the double hashtags around their names because they were Jewish, and right-wingers were saying, get in the oven anytime you made any benign comment on Twitter. They attacked women. The misogyny was crazy on Twitter for a while. Elon Musk, I guess he misses the old South Africa.
Wow, she really threw that one in at the end. But this is what they do. Like I said, all of that stuff she's describing, maybe that's happening. But what's happening on a larger scale is that same policy being applied to people who are just against the Biden administration or just against war. That's the problem. You keep bringing up these one-offs, or maybe let's not even call it one-offs because it probably happens more than one-offs. You keep bringing up these things that happen at a lot less frequency than people who are against war or leftists or progressives who are being removed. Let's play again.
Africa in the 80s, he wants that back.
Like, where is she getting that
He
from?
wants to bring the old crew back together.
They don't just want to come.
I'm not a defender of Elon Musk, but like some of these takes are just off. Let's listen.
In. They want to come in and be able to punch people in the face and walk around and laugh about it. And
who wants to come in and punch people in the face? It's almost like they're conjuring up a personal story and applying this Elon Musk, and they're applying specific instances of people doing this to them. When does this stuff happen? Or maybe in my community it doesn't happen, and that's why I don't hear about it. So that's a good thing. Let's see this one. I've been attacked more often and more viciously by liberals, and I am a communist. Word. Exactly. I don't know who you're talking. Have you heard of the K Hive? Have you heard of them? They mass report people who shouldn't be mass reported. The K Hive do this all the time. Or they did it a lot more close when it was by the election. They now went underground. They're embarrassed of their Yas Queen. Let's see if this torture ends soon.
And not have anyone be able to stop them. The thing is, the enjoyment they get out of being in this town square is being able to harass people, being able to attack people. There was a time when people had the double hashtags around their names because they were Jewish, and right-wingers were saying, get in the oven anytime you made any benign comment on Twitter. They attacked women. The misogyny was crazy on Twitter for a while. Elon Musk, I guess
misogyny was crazy. I don't know if you've been on Twitter. It's the exact same. What are you talking about? They're messaging to somebody else. Because somebody else is watching that going, yeah, I know. It's not us.
He misses the old South Africa in the 80s. He wants that back.
He wants to bring the old crew back together. He wants to bring Trump, claims he's not going to come in. Trump can't resist it. Trump's going to come back. Milo Yiannopoulos, all those people are going to come back. But again, I think the important thing we got to remember is even if he does this, it's still incumbent upon the people who are actually participating in Twitter to decide how they want to react and interact with this new world. I know there's somebody out there in this.
What new world? What is happening to Twitter that I am missing, everybody? What has happened to Twitter? Has something happened on Twitter? Yo, I dealt with my first Karen today. It boggles my mind when someone can come up to you and act like a super trooper to tell me not to do something. I picked a wildflower, perfectly legal. That sounds like something a liberal would get mad at. Like and share, thank you. Let's go back here. Yeah, watching mainstream media. Welcome to the circus. Yes. Luckily for tonight. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. I was going to say, luckily, this is the only corporate clip. There is another
this
one.
Audience right now with a brilliant idea. And just like we never thought we were going to move past MySpace, we did. We went to Facebook. Something else can follow Twitter if it's being run by a terrible person. I don't doubt that there's some genius person out there. And that's essentially what's going to happen. We may see another great migration off of the Twitter platform if it turns 100%. Out to be a place. And here's also why I got to say this, Joy, about public spaces. Again, you can make regulations that, look, if you're running a public space, people have to be treated well. If I go into Starbucks, people can't throw coffee in my face, no matter how cheap I may want to be, with my latte. You can't throw coffee in my face. You could say, hey, look, Elon, you can run this social media site, but you still have to abide by basic structural laws that we have in society about how people are treated. There are things that can be done. We just don't have a government that's got the will or the interest in doing it right now.
And here's the irony, and I have to go on this, but the irony is if Elon Musk makes this a place where Elon Musk is entirely comfortable with the free speech, it will lose value because people will be like, I'm done. People won't stay. People aren't going to be there to be abused by MAGA. I know y'all think that we have an entitlement to hear you scream at us, but people don't have.
I think we're going to have to end it there. I can't do no more of that. I literally don't know what she's talking about here. But I am going to bring up, let's go to the Nina interview. It's not a long interview. And we're talking about, I was supposed to do this story. Was it yesterday? I can't remember. But missed out doing it. So let's go to that interview. Oh, wow. It's already right here. So I have to go to regular Twitter now. I'm sorry, regular YouTube now to get that interview. Where is it? Okay, here it goes. All right, so let me switch up the screen. Let's cover this Nina Turner interview. I actually haven't seen all of it. So I'll be learning new information just like you're learning if you haven't seen it already. But if you're deep into politics, I'm sure you've seen the interview. Where is the share button? There we go. Okay, so let's share a different screen. This one right here. All right, so YouTube interview. This is Jordan interviewing Nina. As far as I know, actually, did she have another one? This is the latest interview of Nina Turner, as far as I know. Has there been another one? Anyway, there may have been another one.
Jordan, delighted to be joined by former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, co-chair for Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign in 2020, and was also out across the country in 2016 for Senator Sanders. And you're now running again for Cleveland's 11th district in Ohio against now Congresswoman Shontel Brown. My first question, because I was out there over the dead of summer last year, that special election. And, you know, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect because I felt a whole lot of Cleveland didn't even know there was an election going on.
That is true.
In the beginning. So let's talk about the differences now, because obviously you lost by about 4,000 votes last time. Most people might not know this, that 5,000 to 8,000 Republicans voted for Shontel Brown. Tell me what feels different and what your campaign is doing different this time in a traditional primary on May 3rd.
We're running a field first campaign, Jordan. That is the number one difference between last time and this time, really analyzing the areas that we could have done, the areas where we could improve, and that was it. And we've been on the ground since the middle part of February. And you know, in Cleveland, it's still snowing and it's still pretty cold, knocking doors.
So I think it's Jordan, and maybe somebody else was reporting where I saw that this is one of the good things I've heard about this campaign. It was another reporting, is that, or maybe the reporting was their focus is on the ground game, getting out, talking to people in that way. So hopefully, well, I shouldn't say hopefully. No, because if Nina won, I mean, I guess that's a good thing. You have another person. I mean, I'm trying to look at the bright side of her winning, like what would be, you know, something good out of it. But oops, am I not sharing? Oh yeah, but let's continue. Let's continue.
Doors. We have had over 100,000 voter contacts because of the deep work that we have been doing. The energy for us is palpable. That was not necessarily the case last time. As you laid out in the middle of the summer, people not knowing there was a special election happening. That's different. People do know, although I will say, and I'm very disappointed because I'm a pro vote, people get out there to vote. We are seeing, and articles have pointed to the fact that this too is going to be a low voter turnout election, although we have a competitive gubernatorial race and other constitutional offices, as well as a competitive U.S. Senate race because Senator Rob Portman is not running.
So they're getting numbers that this is already going to be a low turnout election. And what do they say about their duopoly? Low turnout means the conservative or the Republican wins. High turnout means the Democrat or the more left-leaning wins. Now, if you have two Democrats running, how does that work out? I guess that will be conservative versus liberal along those lines. But that part is not good for Nina Turner, or low turnout.
Again, I think it is a reflection of people being overwhelmed and feeling, feeling suffocated by what is happening in the economy with all of the inflation. And then when you couple that with the pandemic, although we might not be masking up as much as we used to, the pandemic is not done with us. We may be done with the pandemic, but it's not done with us.
Right. Last time, in addition to Democratic majority for Israel, spending millions of dollars to make you look anti-Semitic, in addition to billboards and TV ads, suffocating, I literally couldn't drive around Cleveland without seeing these billboards attacking you for not bowing down in loyalty to Joe Biden 100% of the time. I find it interesting because Shontel Brown has been a congresswoman for about 5 minutes. She's not completely going along with exactly what President Biden policy agenda is. In fact, she has basically been signing on with others to try and continue obstructing America re-entering the Iran nuclear deal.
That's exactly right, with 17 other of her colleagues there. So yeah, she's not walking 100% lockstep, and it's ludicrous on its face. When people elect members of Congress, they elect members to do their bidding, not the bid. And most of the time, that bidding it will probably be in line with the administration. There will be times when it will not, and you got to stand up for your people. Now, when it comes to the Iran deal, hey, shame on her for not signing up, being in support of that. That was the signature, one of the signature foreign policies for then President Barack Obama. President Trump was wrong to get out of that agreement. I definitely applaud President Biden for working to get back into that agreement. We have to continue to work for peace all over.
You know what? This is just came to mind. This is completely off topic. I love her glasses because she always had. Are these types of glasses called butterfly glasses? Because they remind me of butterfly wings. This is completely off topic, but that's what I was thinking of. She has the red ones, and then she has these ones. She'll have some white ones. She's styling with these glasses. Anybody knows that? Off topic question. I know, but let's continue with the interview. Nina Turner.
All over the globe. And that agreement is one way of doing just that, but she didn't sign on to it. And not only is the Democratic majority for Israel, they were in deep, as you know, spending almost $3 million combined with the super PACs between them, AIPAC, Third Way. They're back at it again, Jordan. And I want your viewers to know they just plopped down $2 million between those two. And I'm finding out Third Way is back in it again. So before all is said and done, we might be back at about $2.5 to $3 million in an effort to try to defeat me. And the effort to defeat me is bigger than me. I'm just a conduit, and I understand that very clearly. This is first and foremost about the movement, the progressive movement itself. And they, the powers that be, those who believe in the status quo, they'll do anything that they can to try to defeat that.
But they in particular have a disdain for Nina Turner. They do. They in particular don't like Nina Turner. We've heard the stories when they were part of the campaign because she was the one that was kind of, and this is why people fell in love with her. She was the one that was kind of like willing to say how it was to their face, using the words that all of us would use. And this is the thing I said about Nina Turner. Nina Turner's support or the love for Nina Turner is 100% based on how she talks. That's why they call her, what did they call her? The Dragon Slayer. It's based on how she talks. So when she began to run as a Democrat, she had to change how she talks. And us as leftists picked up on that right away. Like, that ain't no fucking dragon. Picked up on that right away. But anyway, let's continue.
Try to defeat our movement. And I do want the voters of the greater Cleveland area to understand that no outside force should be able to come in here and tell us who is going to be our leader. The DMF IPAC is being funded by an oil baroness, for example. So that might be explain why Ms. Brown.
So let me rewind this part, and then I'll give why I did rewind it after she says what she said that again.
Is going to be our leader. The DMF IPAC is being.
Oh, I didn't go far enough. Right
even the status quo, they'll do anything that they can to try to defeat that. Try to defeat our movement. And I do want the voters of the greater Cleveland area to understand that no outside force should be able to come in here and tell us who is going to be our leader.
What do you mean? An outside force coming in and telling you to be your leader? How are they telling you to be their leader? Are you saying that money and the influence of money dictates who your leader is going to be? Is that what you're saying, Nina Turner? Because that happens on a broad scale between the Republicans and Democrats. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. It's called access journalism. That's what this is called. Plus, Jordan, if she gets elected, what does that mean for Jordan? Doesn't that mean something good for his career and his business and his not that he's only doing it for that, but doesn't that bode well for him? Now, this person that he's been helping to quell the left, that, hey, no, Nina Turner's good because that's what he's been doing. And a lot of the white left media has been doing that. Now she's in office and elected. Now they have somebody that they've been helping that they, in their mind, is thinking, I have access to an elected person now, and I'm an independent media person. Yeah. So let's continue with the interview, Jordan and Nina.
The DMF IPAC is being funded by an oil baroness, for example. So that might be explain why Ms. Brown has not signed on to the robust Green New Deal policies that are percolating through the United States House of Representatives at this time. And the cryptocurrency billionaire, he plopped down $1 million of his own. And not just here in this district, Jordan, he's doing it all over the country. So
I don't understand these. I don't understand. I'm not gonna say that. All right.
Democracy itself, whether it's the 11th district here in Ohio or the 11th district in California, I'm just making this a broader example. Those of us who believe that the people of their respective community should be able to make that decision.
I know I can say it this way. So we're pointing out the money that's coming in, the outside money that's coming in, but you're wanting to join a party that takes lots of outside money. That's what's weird to me. You're complaining about what they're doing to you, but you're wanting to join that team that does that. Just a little weird to me. Let's continue.
Those of us who believe in fighting for democracy itself and not just the individual who you want to vote for, we should all feel the threat that has swirled upon us since Citizens United.
Mm-hmm. And let me ask you, because I want to just clear the air on something. A lot of critics said, well, I'd vote for Nina, but she should have run Green Party or she should have run independent or this and that. My understanding is Green Party is not on the ballot anymore in Ohio. No. Obviously, I mean, you could skip the primary, I guess, and run as an independent, but you'd probably lose by 30 or 40 in that district. So what was the actual options for you to run in a primary?
So here goes the reselling, here goes the funneling back of possible potential non-establishment people, leftist leaning, progressive, back to the Democrat. There's just no other way. There's no other way. So you say, instead of beating them, let's join them and perpetuate that same system against somebody else, another newcomer who's in your same situation.
Primary and to win, I should say, in that district.
The one I'm taking now, Jordan, the one and
see, and this is the same thing that Hector and I encountered in our debate. The whole, there's no other route to win but this way. There's no other way to win. So let's say they were the slavery party, and the slavery party and another party was called the really big slavery party. Are we joining that because that's the way to win? That's what we're doing? I see that as a critique and saying we need to change this. That's what I see. Is that we need to change this. Not that, oh, this system is fucked up. Let me go ahead and use this fucked up system too. I don't see it that way.
And thank you. You have been masterful at explaining this to our other colleagues in the movement, that in certain districts, and this is one of them, that is not an option if we want to be competitive. We want to win. I'm not doing this just for practice here.
Right. I'm not doing this just for the fucking cause. I'm doing it for power. What happened to running a campaign to your principles and letting the chips fall where they may? What happened to, Bernie Sanders has ran twice, not winning, not coming close to winning. Even this last time, he was doing good, but they made sure he didn't come close. So this is why this sort of look at the system is where the difference lies. Where did I put my pen? And that is reformists. They're about reforming the Democratic Party. That it's not so far gone. That's why I can go in here and yes, it is the slavery party, but I'm going to go in and make it not the slavery party. What is one newly elected person going to do with decades of entrenched money and corruption, like Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Chuck Schumer? Literally, you can just keep naming him. Reformist leftists. So let's start using that. Reformist leftists. That is who Nina Turner is. So we have the leftists we keep because, as part of the name, because there's overlapping policy. I don't know if there's enough overlapping policy to call a person a leftist, but they call themselves leftists. Let's go with it. So reformist leftists, if they call themselves a progressive reformist, progressive. That is not what RBN is. That's not what Compton J is. That's not what I am. We're not reformist leftists. You can't look at what's happening with some of these institutions and systems and say they can be reformed. Literally, reforming the police department is literally firing every single police officer that is currently employed this second and starting brand new. With with the new way of doing things, with people who have to have their background searched for racism. That's not going to happen though. But saying you can reform the current people who is killing people, that's bizarre. Let's continue.
I want to win because the progressive movement needs more leaders like myself who actually have the levers of power that can push our agenda. This is what this.
Who has the levers of power that's in there that she's going to join? I want to know. Because when we on Twitter bring up, hey, AOC's not doing anything, the AOC stand says she's just one person. She can't do nothing. What are you talking about? So what levers of power is Nina Turner going to pull or push that AOC and the squad aren't doing now? What is that? That's what I would like to know. Let's listen to some more. I'm going to try to throw some more comments up.
This is about. This district is a solidly Democratic district. My county, Cuyahoga County itself, votes about 5 or 6 to 1 Democrat. So there is no way that an independent will not win. So the movement has some maturing to do. We got to play chess, not checkers. And so if people just want to run just to do it and say, hey, I ran, or do you want to run and win?
Let me tell you something. There's no part of chess that involves joining the Democratic Party. None. There's no part of chess. That ain't even checkers. That's like Uno. That's not even Uno. That's like marbles in the dirt. Just shooting marbles in the dirt. You don't even have a board game. So it's not even, the comparison is not checkers or chess. You are playing in the dirt with marbles and somebody else is playing chess. If you decide to join the Democratic Party. Right. There's two groups. There's the reformist leftists and the revolutionary leftists, or we can also call them the old left and the new left. Old left believes that they're still, using the same pathways that hasn't worked in the past. Those are reformists. Reforming the Democratic Party. Let's continue.
And that may look differently in another part of the country, but for the 11th congressional district, it is solidly Democrat, and that's what people are going to vote for. They're going to have a choice between the Democrat and the Republican, but for all intents and purposes, whoever wins this primary on May 3rd will win the general election. So I am running to win and to further our progressive agenda in the halls of Congress. But that's not the only way to push the progressive agenda. We need activists and people who agitate to be on the front lines too. It is both of those things. And that's why I'm running, to complement what the movement is doing and the things that we're fighting for to change the material conditions of people in my district and in this country.
I'm glad you brought up the word
Nina, nobody's doing nothing. I'm going to rewind this back. Here. Right there.
That's not the only way to push the progressive agenda. We need activists and people who agitate to be on the front lines.
Hang on a second. I didn't go back.
For all intents and purposes, whoever wins this primary on May 3rd will win the general election. So I am running to win and to further our progressive agenda in the halls of Congress. But that's not the only way to push the progressive agenda. We need activists and people who agitate to be on the front lines too. It is both of those things. And that's why I'm running, to complement what the movement is doing and the things that we're fighting for to change the material conditions.
Okay, I got clarity in when she was talking about the movement, because I was thinking, first I thought she was saying the left movement. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I get it now. Go ahead. All right, let's
people
continue.
In my district and in this country.
I'm glad you brought up the word agitate, because if we got I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A lot of the progressives that activists, knocked on doors, made the calls for, donated to get in there, their version of agitating has been to write letters to President Biden, asking him kindly on student loan debt cancellation and climate, or getting meetings with his chief of staff as victories. But they have not chosen to agitate, in my view, whether you chalk it up to naivete or political threats that have been made. That you're going to get backbenched. You won't have these committee assignments, whatever it is. The squad, to a lesser degree, Bernie. What if you get elected? Because you mentioned winning. What should people expect? I mean, I know you pretty well. I don't really think you're going in there to kindly write letters. But for example, right now, student loan debt. Would people be able to expect you to go to publicly challenge the president to cancel student loan debt, to be out there with activists? We could go down the list. The climate protests, this and that. I think what people are looking for is not just progressives that share our policy vision, but actually have a strategy to fight and exert power once in Congress.
That's exactly right, Jordan. And I understand that and I feel that. And that's not to say that I am going to agree with every tactic that the movement agrees with. But I've already, by way of example, been out there for the debt for the cancellation of student debt. And I want to shout out.
Let me just tell you, Nina Turner, there's nothing you've done in this campaign that will fall under the category that he's describing. So nothing you've done up until this point, since you've been running this second time, you haven't done anything in that time frame that will fall under the category of, doing something. Nothing. So let me rewind that part.
already, by way of example, been out there for the for the cancellation of cancel.
Well, I don't really think you're going in there to kindly write letters. But for example, right now, student loan debt, would people be able to expect you to go to publicly challenge the president to cancel student loan debt, to be out there with activists? We could go down the list, the climate protests, this and that. I think what people are looking for is not just progressives that share our policy vision, but actually have a strategy to fight and exert power once in Congress.
That's exactly right, Jordan. And I understand that and I feel that. And that's not to say that I am going to agree with every tactic that the movement agrees with.
To me, that's her telling us that all that shit that y'all want us to do, I'm not doing none of that. When they say I'm not going to do anytime they say that, switch that to none. When they say, if I don't agree with every tactic you did, just switch that to none. If I don't agree with none of it, that's what they're saying. How about one tactic? One.
With, but I've already, by way of example, been out there for the cancellation of student debt. And I want to shout out in this moment, the Debt Collective. I was invited to be with them. It's probably been about 3 weeks ago now. We were in DC in front of the education department's building. And it was a beautiful sight to see activists from all over the country stand in solidarity with one another to say to the president, send a message to the Secretary of Education that this debt can be canceled. So yeah, I was there. See, I haven't stopped, Jordan. That's really what I want this movement to understand, that even though I am running for this seat, I didn't win it last time, but that didn't stop me. I've been side by side with Sherwin-Williams workers right here in my district, side by side with the Starbucks workers in my district, and have been requested to go all over the country. I went to New York too to stand side by side with those Starbucks workers, with the Amazon workers. Bessemer, I got this party started. I'm so proud and happy, and I know that Status Quo, you all have been out there from the beginning. A Christian Smalls doing the daggone thing under some intense situations when people counted him out. He was doing the work. I too have been and continue to do the work, whether I have that extra special title or not, because I believe in the mission to help change material conditions of the people of this great nation, starting with my district. But I do understand this, Jordan, that what happens over there happens over here. That's why I went to Bessemer, Alabama. What happens over there happens over here. I was invited even after the special election last year by some of our sisters and brothers over in the UK. Why? Because they see my fight. That is what it is. So I'm not going to change that. Yes, when the president needs to be challenged, I am going to challenge. When there are things that we agree on, I'm going to be right there too. For example, the Iran nuclear deal that the current congressperson decided, she's not for it, with 17 other Democrats. One of the signature foreign policies of President Barack Obama, President Trump did the wrong thing by getting us out of the deal. Glad to see President Biden fighting to get us back in the deal. That is something that he and I would agree on, and that I would be there. So it's not this, we're going to be fighting all the time, but when it comes down to making sure that there is the sufficient fight for what will help my constituents and other people in this country, whether it's canceling student debt. I'm not changing on Medicare for all. I'm not the one that just signed on to it conveniently. Check my record. I've been out there fighting for it, confronting power for it, and I'm going to continue to do that. So yeah.
Let's see what the next question is. Here.
One specific thing, I have been really just dumbfounded. I asked Congressman Ro Khanna when he came on during this whole standoff with President Manchin, why was the progressives not out there on his doorstep? Bernie wrote an op-ed in his hometown paper, which kind of got under his skin, but there were no, protests, rallies. That I know the people of West Virginia, you'd have thousands of people showing up. Those are the kind of things when the moment matters. Should people trust? Because I've seen you on the campaign trail. I've seen you speaking to the Verizon workers and the Nissan workers in Mississippi. I mean, you've been out there when it counts. Can people expect that a Congressman Turner would, in those moments, go against Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema, even more progressive folks if they're not being aggressive enough in terms of obstruction.
Yeah, I'm doing it now, and every opportunity that I've had to
She's doing it now, everybody. Let's go home. She's doing it already. Yep. Nina Turner's already doing it. Let me say this. If Nina Turner's already doing it, we are obviously not talking about the same thing. And this came up with Hector too. Because I'm like, I'm like, the only inside, I said, I'm not for an inside game. I'm for this inside game is what I said. I'm for a militant Democrat who's going in saying, I'm running against Nancy Pelosi. I'm going against the Democrats to get all the corruption out. He's like, yeah. Have you seen my stuff? Have you seen? And I'm like, Hector, I watched every single video on that site and I watched yours. Nothing I saw is at all anywhere close to what I'm describing. They really believe that they're speaking against the Democratic Party by just saying people taking corporate money instead of saying Joe Biden is corrupt, Nancy Pelosi is corrupt, and I'm coming to, I want to get elected. Like specifically using words corruption, takes bribes, and using Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's speaking truth to power in that way. But that's the type of candidate that would garner the type of support needed. And I just don't see, I don't see anybody doing that. I don't see anybody wanting to do that. When I mentioned this on Brianna Joy Gray's call-in show, Katie Halper was like, nobody's going to do that. Like, why would they do that? Then you would lose people. And then I said, well, the problem is you wouldn't get people like me unless you do. So that's the dilemma. Like, you're not going to get me to say, I'm going to vote for a Democrat unless the Democrat is saying I'm going in to specifically get these people out. And I mean, like, if there's a coordinated effort, let's say there's 100 candidates over 50 states, and we're all going like similar to the Tea Party, but you're grassroots. Similar to the Tea Party in this sense, where you're like, we're running not against necessarily our Republican opponent, we're running against the Democratic Party. We're running against the leadership of the Democratic Party. And we're going to be specifically saying, we're coming here to fuck up the plans of the corrupt Democratic Party. Like those words. Not sugar-coated words. Like, we're coming here to remove the corruption that Nancy Pelosi has installed in Washington, D.C. Like, if you're speaking like that, you could possibly get some revolutionary leftists to hey, I'm here voting. I can just go ahead and check this box. You might get a few people to do that. People who are saying the Democratic Party is corrupt and I'm going over there to get all the corrupt people out. How many corrupt people in there? All of them. You get somebody running like that, then I'm with it. Oh, did somebody say nihilism? I missed it. You already heard my rant the other day on nihilism. It's such a misused word. It's not, should be part of this discussion. It is grammatically, like by definition, misused. Like the word is not even being used by the definition of the word. It is more closely related to nihilism to vote for the Democratic Party when you don't want to be, that's not your party. For example, lesser of two evils. That's closer to nihilism than saying I'm not voting for either one of them. You're pretty much saying, well, I don't want the one I want, so I just pick the less. That is close to nihilism right there. Yeah, so let's refresh. Always takes, my comments are always a little bit behind when I'm trying to get new ones. Anyway, 50% of voting Americans would support an indie candidate. Absolutely. Nick covered that. What show were we doing? Was it our Monday show? He brought up that graphic. 58%. If it was Trump and Biden going to be the next choices, this is that. I think that's the full question. 58% of Americans would rather vote for an indie candidate. Well, I don't know if he is. I don't know. I'm not going to go that far. I don't know that much about what he has done. This is nothing revolutionary about there is nothing revolutionary about electoralism. Yes, it's not. Nothing. There's nothing revolution. That's a reformist who's for that. Nina will vote for weapons for Ukraine before she even asks Nancy if she could utter the words access to health care. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that's not the case here. Or maybe these progressive leaning, left leaning people are going in Congress and disappointing people. Maybe that's how we're going to get people to get in the streets, to convince more people. I don't know. Maybe that's the way we're going to do it. I'm gonna have to speed this up because I got another story. Rachel Maddow story. Is this Rachel Maddow? Yeah, this is. Oh yeah. LAPD story. So believe it or not, I'm using Rachel about an LAPD the LA Sheriff story. What's happening over here in the Sheriff's Department with the Sheriff's Department over here. Let's see where she's at. All right, so yeah, I'll cue that story up, and I guess I can use it. I'll use that. All right, so let's finish out this Nina, and then we'll get to that one.
The interview with people like you and others in independent media and also the mainstream media. I have said so. I am on the record of saying months ago that I thought that the president should use the bully pulpit, since those two want to stand in the way of his agenda. And I'm talking about the Build Back Better portion. The infrastructure portion, oh, that's great. That is great. We needed both of those things to happen at the same time. And right. I wanted to see the president use the bully pulpit because he already invited, those senators. He's been Senator Manchin, for example, went to the White House and was invited to be with the president in Delaware. He talked to Senator Sinema, all of them. They got wined and dined. Once he tried the diplomatic approach, and that's not moving the needle, then in my opinion, it was time for the president to use that bully pulpit that he has. And I said, gas up the jet, go to West Virginia, go to Arizona, let him know who's standing in the way of his agenda. That is what you can do to rally the people on your side, to put pressure on those elected officials that are not pushing the agenda that is going to be necessary to help the people. And we know that it was watered down over time, and we can't even get Democrats to do the bare minimum. So I am going to continue to do what I've done. I'm sure I'm going to learn some other ways of doing things too. But being out there among the people like you said, when it counts is very important to me. That is how you move it. Everything is not going to.
How is the audience? This is a question for everybody watching. What is the mood? What is the feeling? What is the right word? What is the feeling, the gut feeling you're getting from this interview from Nina Turner? Just curious to hear everybody's gut feeling about this issue, about Nina Turner and how she's speaking in this interview. I'm going to put your comments up here before I continue with the video. Just curious to know. And the next story is the Kevin McCarthy story, the leaked video audio here. My gut feeling is all cops are bad. Love the picture, Jimmy Hint. Welch grape. Let's see. CJ, the gut feeling, she will be just another Democrat, no more, no less. Yeah, I'm starting to hear that too. Wow, this Cat Terrell went far and said two-faced liar on that one. To be honest, I'm concerned about her. She might have Stockholm syndrome, trying to go back to a party that is actively going against her. Yeah. I was wanting to get to the Jayapal part. Let's see if he gets to the Jayapal part here. This next question here.
That will change material conditions. That is not going to change, Jordan. I've been doing that, and I will continue to do that.
You got to ask. Progressive Caucus,
okay, here it goes.
Jayapal endorsed Congresswoman Brown. I've heard different things, that it's in their charter that they have to endorse the incumbent. I don't know about that, but I wanted to ask you, because obviously that encompasses, Squad, Ro Khanna, Jayapal. Obviously, we don't know what each person who they would or wouldn't endorse, but that honestly to folks in the progressive movement seems like quite the betrayal.
And the movement made their voices known on that. And I want to thank the movement for standing up. The most important endorsements that I'm getting from progressive types are coming from my district. I have the endorsement of the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus, the Stonewall Dems, DFA, Democratic, or DSA, I should say, Democratic Socialists of America, the Cleveland chapter has endorsed me. I have Black Lives Matter endorsement, Working Families Party endorsement, Ohio, Our Revolution, DFA, Democratic, DFA, because there's DSA.
Yeah, those are all Democratic those are all Democrats. Of course they would endorse you.
DFA. So I have many local endorsements. Sunrise Movement. I'm now, Jordan, you're making me name some, and I know I done left some folks out. The bottom line is that the endorsements that count on the ground from the progressive movement have endorsed me. And there are in progressive.
I'm going to cut it there. So she's taking the high road and saying the people who matter, the ones who are on the ground, like as she said, the important ones endorsed her is what she's saying. So she's taking the high ground. Let's go ahead and shift to the, oops, I'm not inviting another person because I need to get off. I told my wife I'll be off by 11. But if I don't look at the clock, I could just keep talking. I could keep talking. So let's go here. I wanted to make sure I covered all the stories that's at least in a thumbnail. And this next one, they go right into the video. So it starts right in the beginning. So here is Chris Hayes, all in with Chris Hayes talking about this leaked Kevin McCarthy video or tape.
With Chris Hayes starts now.
Tonight on All In.
Tension is too high. The country is too crazy. I do not want to look back and think we caused something or we missed something and someone got hurt.
New recordings of Republican leadership after the insurrection worried their own members were going to get people hurt.
It's potentially illegal. What are you doing? Well, he's putting people in jeopardy.
Tonight, the explosive new tapes and how McCarthy and Scalise went from fearing the sedition caucus to running Liz Cheney out of power and trying to kill the January 6th investigation. Then more mind-bending election.
So let me just say this. I truly don't care about this January 6th stuff. I don't follow the story. I don't have any sympathy. Like, it's hard for me to have sympathy for any of the people that have elected, considering what they've done to this country and what they're doing to this country, the bombs they're dropping. It's hard for me. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care what they went through. It's just hard for me to feel that for them. So I'm not invested in this story, but I thought it was funny that of what Kevin McCarthy was saying on tape. So this is more of a funny story to me. I'm not at all, because I don't know if any liberals on Facebook is watching this. Like, I'm going to cover this from a liberal point of view, because I'm not. I don't take January 6th in the commission as anything serious. I'm not interested in it. So just wanted to make sure I say that before we continue here. I just want to hear what he's saying about these Republicans and Trump because I think it's funny.
Conspiracy theories in newly released texts to Trump's chief of staff, and how to explain the absurd conservative celebration of Elon Musk's bid to buy Twitter.
Twitter. It's in Elon Musk's hands. Can you believe it?
When All In starts right now.
So just like we talk about other lefty media or other YouTube media, and we put their videos on, corporate media does the same thing, back and forth with Fox. But I never see MSNBC and CNN going at it. It's CNN and Fox, or MSNBC and Fox, that does that sort of same thing. So let's listen now to this leak tape. They play it like in the first 3 minutes, so we're gonna hear it real quickly here.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. You know, there was a brief moment in the days after January 6th where it looked like the Republican Party, the leaders of it at least, not Donald Trump, might actually just do the right thing. Right? The stark moral truth sitting in front of them. Party leaders Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell were obviously, correctly horrified by the violence of the insurrection. Both men publicly condemned Trump for his obvious involvement in inciting the attack. They were even more damning of his conduct in private. We are now learning that McCarthy was not just concerned about Trump. According to leaked audio obtained by the New York Times, on a January 10th call, just 4 days after the insurrection, McCarthy also expressed concerns that Republicans in his own conference might incite violence against their fellow party members.
The other thing that we have to do is these members on either whatever position you are calling out other members, that stuff's got to stop, especially in this nature. So when I get up right here, I'm going to call Gates. But anything else we see, don't assume I see everything. Don't assume I know everything. But we've got to have one central point. So, I mean, if you can bring this stuff to Dan Legansky, so you can have it. But, I mean, don't sit back around. It's going to be right personally. Tension is too high. The country is too crazy. I do not want to look back and think we caused something or we missed something and someone got hurt. I don't want to play politics with any of that.
That's a remarkable moment of moral clarity. I don't want to look back and think someone got hurt. I don't want to play politics with any of it. McCarthy singled out Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida as someone whose inflammatory rhetoric might get people hurt. McCarthy was worried that Gaetz, who frequently criticized fellow Republicans by name for being insufficiently loyal to Trump in his eyes, was inflaming tensions at a time when the country was already in a volatile position. It was a concern echoed by others.
What happened to Gaetz? Isn't Gaetz supposed to be in jail? He's still Gaetz, I thought he was supposed to be in jail, or he did something where he should be in jail. Let's look and see what you say here. Right-wing populists are taking over the GOP at the local precinct level. The RNC is a decentralized organization, unlike the DNC. All right, so yeah, Matt Gaetz, terrible. Let's see what Matt Gaetz says.
There's on the call, including the number 2 Republican in caucus, a man who was shot, we should remember, Congressman Steve Scalise.
Okay, the other thing I want to bring up, and I'm making some phone calls to some members. I just got something sent now about Newsmax, something Matt Gaetz said, where he's calling people's names out, saying an anti-Trump in this type of atmosphere. And some of the other places, this is serious stuff people are doing that has to stop. I'll make individual calls.
Mo and Louis' comments too. A lot of members have said some real concerning things about.
Did they say something today too?
Not that Louis was at. Mo was at the rally. You know, we're kicking ass and taking names thing at the Trump rally.
So these are things right before they kick that ass.
Okay, what did Gaetz say?
Gaetz brought up Liz specifically. I just saw that.
I guess I should have did some more research on this call. But like, do they know they're being recorded? Like, this isn't a secret recording. Like these calls, these conference calls, they always record, and somebody has just decided to leak it. Now, if it's being leaked, somebody wants it out. Somebody on the call wants this out. Either that or did they get these? No, these are leaked. They did say leaked. Never mind. So let's listen a little more before we end this video.
Engage. I'm explaining to him. I don't have anything to say, but I'm going to have some other people call him too. But the nature of if I'm getting briefing, I'm going to get another one from the FBI tomorrow. This is serious shit to cut this out.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's potentially illegal. What are you doing?
Well, he's putting people in jeopardy, and he doesn't need to be doing this. We saw what people would do in the Capitol, and these people came prepared with rope, with everything else.
As you heard a bit of there, McCarthy and his fellow Republicans also took issue with Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama. Of course, he was the one who wore body armor while he spoke at Trump's rally at the Ellipse and told the soon-to-be insurrectionists about to storm the Capitol that it was, quote, the day American patriots started taking down names and kicking ass.
This is American political discourse. This is where we're at. January 6th. We're still talking about January 6th. These networks are still on Donald Trump. Like I was doing research yesterday for a show. I went through like 4 different corporate news, and it's literally it was either all war, like the entire show. No other. I think what is his name? Anyway. It was all war. Anderson Cooper, that's what I was trying to think of. It was all war or all Trump. Something that some other news came out at Trump, or he was in contempt by a judge, and that was like news. Rachel Maddow covered it most of her show, but she did find a way to fit in that story about the LA Sheriff's Department. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to that, but yeah. So let's actually no, that's the last part of his story. And what I wanted you to hear, or what I wanted to hear, I just think it's funny that I think this shows that what politicians say in public and what they say behind closed doors is not. So he's clearly not for what Trump and what's happening. He's clearly not for it. But in public, he's not saying that. In public, he's flipped, I guess. But this is really just all a charade. This is all a joke to them. This is all a way of getting people to take sides in this blue-red game. They come up with another narrative every election, and we just fall for it. The last one was Russiagate. This one is January 6th, war with Putin. Just what it is. Because they offer fear instead of offering ideas and policies, because ideas and policies require money that they don't want to spend. Capitalists don't like spending money. So that is actually, let me pull up the Rachel Maddow. I can pull up the Rachel Maddow. Because the Rachel Maddow, because the sheriff's story it's a pretty interesting story to tell. So I do want to show that. It's probably the shortest video of all of them. But in the meanwhile, while I get that video ready, let me make sure to shout out our upcoming summit, which is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have a lot of great guests. Like a lot of great guests. Dr. Vijay Prasad, I know, is going to be there. Ben Norton will be there. Aaron Monte will be there. Black Power Media will be on there. yeah, Jimmy Dore will be there. Some other academics, some internationally known academics, so some Americans may not know them, but some internationally known academics that are well known, overseas. But I'll bring up the list in just a second once this stops loading. I'm loading the Rachel Maddow in a different screen. So that's loading. But anyway, oh wow. Does it stay? Let me see if this is marked. 1 second, everybody. 1 second, everybody. Okay, I think I found it. Okay. All right, so I think I got it now. All right, sorry about that. Let's now switch screens. Took me a second to do it. Let's go. There, here we go.
I'm going to show you a video here that is a little bit hard to watch. So if you are not inclined to see something like that, or if you're watching with kids, this is your fair warning if you want to just look away for a minute. Okay, here it is. This is security video from the San Fernando courthouse in Los Angeles County. This video was obtained by the LA Times, and it shows a prisoner, a man in handcuffs. You see in the blue trousers there and the white colored shirt. His name is Enzo Escalante. It starts with him punching an LA County Sheriff's deputy, and then you see him get wrestled to the ground. Then, though, one of the deputies that wrestled him to the ground puts his knee on the prisoner's head and continues to kneel on his head for 3 solid minutes, which left that man on the ground alive, thankfully, but pretty well beat up. And if there's elements of that video that feel familiar to you, it's important to note the timing here. That incident took place last year on March 10th, 2021, which happens to have been 2 days after jury selection had started in the very highly publicized trial of Derek Chauvin, the Minneapolis police officer who was convicted of murdering George Floyd, specifically by kneeling for minutes on end on the neck of George Floyd. Well, it was a reporter at the LA Times named Aileen Chekmedian.
This story, if you haven't seen this story, it gets really crazy and weird. So if you haven't seen it, just stick around for like 3 minutes, and because it involves a reporter, it's just ridiculous. Let's listen.
Who published this video last month, along with reporting alleging that the
so the reporter who got a hold of that video and reported that video, that reporter, so she's talking about
LA County Sheriff's Department, up to and including the sheriff himself, had attempted to cover up the incident because they feared the negative light this incident could shed on the department. The sheriff himself has maintained that he didn't know about this until months after it happened. He says he didn't cover anything up. He says he relieved the deputy of duty immediately after he became aware of what had happened.
So come to find out that was a lie, and he knew about it 5 days after the incident happened, not 8 months. And during the 8 months, he was actually trying to cover it up. And the reporter reports on it, but look what happens to her, what he does.
Well, yesterday, that same LA Times reporter, Aileen Chekmedian, added to the story, reporting that an LA County Sheriff's Department commander had filed a new legal claim contesting all of those denials from the sheriff.
So the reporter who released the video gets an update on the story. A commander in the police force, in the sheriff's department, after hearing the top guys say, "Oh, I didn't know about that." The commander, no. You knew about that shit a long time ago, and this is a cover-up. Watch the reaction of the sheriff.
Alleging specifically that the sheriff had viewed a video of the incident just 5 days after it occurred, not 8 months later, which is what he claimed. The commander further alleges that Sheriff Villanueva said to the group he watched the video with, quote, "We do not need bad media at this time." So the LA Times publishes the disturbing video. The sheriff says, "I had no idea. We didn't cover that up. As soon as I found out about it, I took action." A commander on his own force says, "That is not true. You absolutely knew about it, and you did cover it up." That's where the story stood as of yesterday. Where it went today is absolutely bananas. Because today, LA County Sheriff Villanueva
Listen to this shit right here.
convened a press conference to dispute all of this reporting. And what he did at this press conference that is now causing a fresh round of headlines is that he got up at this press conference today in person, and he put up a big poster for everyone to see. The poster had 3 large photos on it. The one on the right is the LA Times journalist who did this reporting. Also, another photo is one of his political rivals for the elected position of LA County Sheriff. And the third photo was the LA Sheriff Department Inspector General, who investigates things like this.
So the top sheriff has his political opponent on the board, has the reporter who is reporting on the incident and gives an update that you knew about the story and it is a cover-up, and then the person that's investigating it. They're all on board. Listen to the rest of the story.
The reason he put up the photo of those 3 is because the sheriff announced today that all 3 of them are now subjects of a criminal investigation into how the LA Times reporter, Aileen Chekmedian, got that security footage. They're all
under a criminal investigation. Does anybody see a problem with this here? There's a criminal investigation about your cover-up being uncovered. The police state. This shit. Let's continue.
They're all the subjects of a criminal investigation now by his office. He says they're all being investigated now for possible.
It gets weirder. You think, oh, we've reached the point. We haven't. Gets weirder. Watch what else happens.
Felonies like conspiracy and burglary and unauthorized use of a database. He put up all this list of potential crimes. All while the LA Times reporter, Aileen Chekmedian, was in the front row covering the press conference for this paper. While
he's sitting there in front of the board saying these things, and she's sitting right there. This comment is so fitting. The comedy writes itself.
Sheriff puts up her picture as a possible perpetrator who his office is going after. This decision by the sheriff today to announce a criminal investigation into this reporter certainly looks like retaliation. The executive editor of the LA Times put out this statement tonight, citing the sheriff's attempt to criminalize news reporting, saying it goes against well-established constitutional law. Quote, "We will vigorously defend Chekmedian's and the LA Times' rights in any proceeding or investigation brought by authorities." I mean, this story started off bad in Los Angeles. Today, it took a very, very dark turn. More ahead. Stay with us.
I could not believe that story. Like, I was looking to break down her propaganda, and it was some in there that could have broke down. But when I saw that part, I was like, what the hell is going on over there in the LA Sheriffs? But that's a criminal organization, the LA Sheriffs. They're some of the worst, on top of the worst, the LA Sheriffs. But you've heard that. But I've come to the end. I was supposed to be off by 11, but this is close enough. Like this stream if you haven't already. It will help those find it a lot easier in the morning when they wake up, because what is it? It is 2 a.m. on the East Coast. So thank you for those that stayed up to watch on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter. What else am I missing here? And whatever other one that I'm missing. Also subscribe if you like the content. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I will be back at 9:15 PT time or P time, Pacific time tomorrow. Also covering stories like this, covering lefty independent media, and also covering corporate media. That's what this show is about. And let me put up that's our little logo thing for right now. And this is today's episode, but I'm going to leave you with one of many videos that I typically end the show with. But before I do that, make sure. Oh, actually, maybe I should play. No. I was gonna play. Yeah, no. I'll wait. So let's play this one right here. Since we're talking about media, let's play a video about media where we talk about media right here. I'm going to end with this video. I won't be coming back after the video ends. The stream will just end after this last video. This video, the caption is, if you buy the idea that we need to stop the flow of misinformation, you are a sucker of the highest order. Who is the biggest spreader of misinformation? Corporate media. We are examining that with this show, and this is a perfect clip to play to an ending of the first episode of the nightly recap with CJ. Everybody have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow night, same time.
Once again, it disappoints me so much when I see people on the left that they cheer for this. They're like, because they think this is a way to own Trump and MAGA people. And they never understand that these censorship activities are used to go after the left. They went after indigenous activists who were protesting for Line 3. There are a lot of accounts that was banned because of this, right? But the biggest thing is these people that agree with the concept of misinformation. Oh my God, we got to control the flow of misinformation. If you buy this, you are a sucker of the highest order, right? So who is the biggest purveyor of misinformation? The corporate news.
That was...
Hey, bro, they still sell the idea that marijuana is a gateway drug. They sell every single war. They lie about weapons of mass destruction. You have Fauci.
Right.
Literally, he admit that he lied about masks at the beginning of the pandemic. Is he getting banned? Did Joanne Reid get banned? For all the time, she's right. Constantly on the show.
Because their lies, state lies, are okay, Nick. State lies are okay. And this is also involves Julian Assange. This is why they're going after him. They're not detesting, they're not contesting the content. They're talking about the means or the process and by which he got the information. But this goes to that point. State lies are okay.